Hey guys, welcome to my part 2 of the most infamous JRPGs ever. Games that are famous for being infamous. Games that are popular for all the wrong reasons. So, let's take a look. Number 10, Disgaea. Disgaea. One of the most frustrating, unfair and annoying JRPGs ever made. It's still a classic, I know, and I actually like it. But if there's one reason why the very first Disgaea is famous for, is its difficulty. This is one of those games in which you can't just rush through it and beat it, no matter how hardcore or strategic you are. No. The game forces you to grind over and over again or to try different strategies to approach its ridiculous difficulty spikes. I've known people who only managed to level up Laharl, the protagonist, and beat the whole game with him. I did fall for quite some time into that same outcome because my characters kept dying even during grinding. I was really far in the game, around 15 or 20 hours or so. I don't clearly remember. Until I quit. Not rage quit, just quit. It's a wonderful game and a classic, like I said, but damn, it's frustrating. Number 9, Drakengard 3. Here's where the real bullshit starts. To be honest with you, I love this game. The gameplay was so addicting to me, and I consider this as one of my top 20 best action RPGs of all time. Even the dark tones it had, however spiteful or bizarre, were to my liking. Nevertheless, it's a game that is pretty famous or infamous for two single reasons. One, the dialogues. To make this as spoiler-free as possible, all I'll say is this. The author, Yoko Taro, didn't give a fuck about expressing his perverted side on this game. Some of the dialogues are extremely insinuating, heavily sexualized and awkward. In fact, they're so awkward, it's laughable. In my opinion, you can't take this game seriously. It's like a dark humor comedy. The second reason why it's so infamous is because of one stupid requirement that can kill your entire gaming experience. I'm sorry for the spoiler, but I have to say it. To unlock the final branch and fight the final boss and get the true ending, you have to have all damned weapons in the game. All of them. Some of them are extremely expensive while some others are only found in the darkest corners of some dungeons. Why do I have to do this crap in order to beat the game? That's bullshit! But that's how it is. Great game, stupid requirements. Damn it. Number 8, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Mystic Quest was Squaresoft's attempt to mock us people outside Japan, meant to be a less complicated, more simplistic RPG. So yeah, we all know the story of how it failed miserably and of how Japan realized that they had underestimated us. We like our complicated hard games, yeah. And to make matters worse, the game was so utterly generic that many gamers trashed it with heavy criticism. It's a spin-off of the famous series Final Fantasy, a turn-based RPG with only one party member during battle. In my opinion, the game's not bad, it's actually okay, but it is very, very generic, dull and boring. I believe it is one of the lamest spin-offs I have ever played in my life. I didn't even finish this game, I quit halfway through it because it was just so damn mediocre. I mean, don't take me wrong, it's a good game, but just plain good. Nothing else to say about it. Number 7, Beyond the Beyond. Here we have a game that is very infamous for being one of the worst JRPGs of all time. Yeah, not only the worst for the PlayStation, but for all consoles ever. Ignore the graphics, which look more like a game from the Super Nintendo era. Ignore the story, which is really dumb and generic for its time. In fact, ignore the damn game and go playing something else. Okay, I'll be totally honest with you, as usual. I didn't think this game was that bad. Is it one of the worst I've ever played in my life? No, it isn't, but I admit it's just plain meh. At least the part I played, because I actually never got past this part, this puzzle here in which you're trapped, because if you don't solve it and try to leave, you get into an impossible battle where your party dies miserably. So I ditched the game because it was really uninspiring. It just didn't make me want to make the effort to pass that part. So is it really one of the worst JRPGs of all time? Nah. But you know what? It's bad nonetheless. Next is Draken for the Super Nintendo. Draken is infamous for the very same reasons as Beyond the Beyond. It's one of the worst JRPGs of all time, and in this case, I agree. But I agree only to some extent. Allow me to explain. This was originally a point-and-click adventure, pretty decent actually for the Amiga and Atari ST, made by a French company. But then Camco remade it for the Super Nintendo, and that's where things got so messed up. The translation from point-and-click to RPG just didn't work out. It backfired them, and now it is considered as one of the worst video games for the SNES. The game never explains itself. You have no clue what to do or where to go most of the time. The controls suck. The graphics only look clear when you're outside. The story is almost non-existent because playing the game is unnecessarily complicated. So overall, it's a terrible port and one that is very infamous for good, solid reasons. Suikoden 4. It pains me to put this game on the list. Suikoden is my favorite JRPG franchise of all time, and I've loved every single title they released when the team existed. And I'm actually tired of defending this game, the black sheep of the family, because tons of people just keep on feeding the hatred there is for it. Is it bad? No! It's a great game, but the problem is it wasn't as great as all the others that came before and actually after it. Some people even say it killed the franchise. I have no idea why, since Suikoden 5 was a success, but let's not get into that topic. The thing is, Suikoden 4 is an excellent RPG but with tons of flaws that kill the experience for some gamers. The navigation in the sea is terrible, and I agree. The battles with actual ships are boring. I agree as well. The game's too short even when recruiting all 108 characters. Agreed too. The story sucks. I disagree. The graphics suck. I disagree. The battle system sucks. Disagree. The music, look, overall, it's a good game and it doesn't deserve its hatred at all. But that's just my opinion. Next, we've got the 7th Saga for the Super Nintendo. I covered this game on my Hidden Gems video and I still don't regret putting it. I think it's a pretty decent game with a very addicting gameplay. I don't know what it is, but no matter how hard it gets, I'm still there like an idiot playing it over and over again. So why is it infamous? Well, I've said it already. It's too hard. Too damn hard. From what I understand, there was an error when localizing the game from Japan to North America. The original Japanese version was hard, but fair. However, the localization team screwed up and the final product ended up being harder than originally. But this mistake was so bad that the difficulty, not only with most bosses but also with random enemies, is brutal. You get killed pretty easily and there's no way around it. You have to grind over and over and over again for the entire game. And that's why the 7th Saga is so infamous. Number 3, Paper Mario Sticker Star. This game could have been easily another great JRPG, just like the Nintendo 64 or GameCube versions, if not for one single change in the battle system. It's called Sticker Star for a reason, and that is that you have to use the stickers to help you battle your enemies. The graphics also changed now to a fully paper-cut visual style, and is also from time to time one of those where the hell do I go kind of game. Sometimes you have to do backtracking and therefore replay some levels just to find out what the ass did you do wrong. It is considered to be the worst Paper Mario ever. People didn't like the sticker stuff and some other flaws. However, it's still a pretty good game. It's just infamous because, well, you know, it's a Mario game and people were expecting way too much out of it. So out of all the list, this one's actually one that I recommend to pretty much anybody. It's not bad at all, but it's just infamous. Number 2, Unlimited Saga. Here is a game that I have never played. Never. I usually don't talk about games that I haven't played, but the requests for putting this game on the list were too many. Not only from YouTube comments, but also on Facebook posts, and even from friends. It's allegedly the worst PlayStation 2 JRPG and one of the worst of all time. Every single time this game comes up in a conversation with somebody who's played it, they always vent out their frustrations with me. Apparently the problem lies in the gameplay mechanics, not the battle system, since neither the game nor the manual tell you how the hell you're supposed to play it, or what to do, or where to go, and you're left from the beginning of the game trying to figure it out for yourself. Some fans say that once you get the gist of it, you'll enjoy it. So who should I listen to? I guess I'll have to play it one day and get an opinion on my own. But seriously, the hatred this game has is way too much. That's the reason that made me put it so high on the list. So finally, number 1, Final Fantasy X2. I am sorry to say this, but I am amongst those gamers who say that this is the game that almost killed Final Fantasy. 10 was great, but then came the horrible movie that I'm just not going to talk about. Finally, this piece of shit happened. All the blame generally goes to Final Fantasy XIII, but I say the franchise was already ruined when this horrible sequel was released. Now, in terms of gameplay, I agree it's actually decent, the battle system is quite fun and the graphics look cooler than its predecessor, but in terms of story, the game is so bad, so quirky, cheesy, awkward, and unnecessarily sexualized that it felt as if it was actually marketed for dumb teens. You know, in literature, there's that Twilight garbage. Well, in gaming, especially in Final Fantasy, it's this. Final Fantasy X2, I'm sorry, but I hate it, and if it's so infamous nowadays, it is for a good reason, in my opinion. Okay guys, that's it. We've reached the end of the video, and I know a lot of you requested a game called Xenogears. I have no clue what that game is about. Well, to be honest, I think that game is a masterpiece. I think it's an excellent JRPG and is famous, but mostly for good reasons. I know it has a lot of flaws, like fatal flaws, like the camera movement, which is terrible, or the fact that the story in the second disc was rushed all the way to the end. But I just didn't have enough reasons to put Xenogears in this video, because even though it's really popular and it's really famous, it's a very well respected JRPG and it's just a cult classic, okay? I don't think Xenogears is infamous at all, but I know there are people who claim that it's very frustrating. So is it famous, is it infamous? That'll be totally up to you. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. And so, see you next time.